It's turned for some secret. Yeah, it is indeed a secret. Secret to stay away from distraction. Now, there are two types of systems. Number one is an open system, and another one is a closed system.
So the reviewer is, we all know, the amazing, wonderful, and a kind-hearted person, and that is Sheetal Dhopte. She is an architect, practicing architect and interior designer. She is a co-founder and director of Excel Interior Design Institute, Nagpur, which is based on a very unique and wonderful concept, which is study without books. So, without wasting much time, I don't want to stand between you and your reviewer. Let's start, Sheetal. Welcome. I welcome is I mean, no, all of us welcome you to review this wonderful book and to enlighten us to address this major challenge today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Pallavi. Yes, indeed, this is need of the hour. And I have taken this review as that challenge being need of the hour. So let's get started. I hope my screen is visible to all of you.
Yes, visible.
Yes, thank you. So Dopamine Detox is written by Thibaut Meurisse, and he is into writing these kind of prioritization and distraction free living books, and this is indeed a gift, I would call, for this generation, really. So well, and the reason why we are online today, that during COVID, when we were, online, many of our friends from UK, Dubai, and other places outside India had joined us. And I'm so glad to share with you, and that some of them are attending the session today. So this review online is for them because they stayed with us. So we need to, keep our word. Now, starting with the review. Before we start, I want a little clarity on these few terminologies that we are going to use repeatedly during this review. We might have a vague idea, but exact idea होता है तो हम हमेशा बहुत clarity से एक चीज को समझ पाते हैं. So what is dopamine? Often people say that it's a pleasure hormone. It's not really a pleasure hormone. It's a neurotransmitter that makes us anticipate reward. It gives us the desire to earn the exciting reward that awaits us. For example, आपने movie की ticket book की है, so you will be going to the theater, you will be, locating your seat, you will be sitting, taking and watching the movie. This is the effort you're going to put in, but what is the motivation? That you're going to enjoy, have fun time watching the movie. So in anticipation of that reward, dopamine is released. This is dopamine. What is stimulation? Excitement, uttejana जिसे हम कहते हैं. Action of arousing interest, excitement, enthusiasm, encouragement. Now, dopamine is not really bad, but in today's world, somehow it has taken a different turn, and that is exactly what is the matter of concern. Let's understand. Role of dopamine in evolution. What happened when at the beginning of civilization, when we were in that hunter-gatherer phase, dopamine was very, very, very important because it used to give that enough excitement to go for hunt, to gather food for the family, to take care of the family, to reproduce. इन सारी एक्टिविटीज के लिए डोपामीन एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता था. But now we all know that this reason has become obsolete, isn't it? We don't have to really go for hunting for food. We can just go to a supermarket and buy what we want. Then how is dopamine working today, or what is it doing? So what is the need for dopamine detox in today's world? Why do we have to really detoxify? Is the question, and let us try to answer this. So, well, in today's world, we are surrounded by distractions, isn't it? If I get little harsh and really call a lot of readily available things like social media, internet for that matter, broadly, internet, packaged food, everything is readily available. And this is the reason why we are totally distracted. Our ability to focus has become really scarce. Whenever you think of sitting on a work desk, you say that एक quick email check कर लेते हैं, एक कुछ मैसेज आया है उसको देख लेते हैं, बस इतना सा इंस्टाग्राम मैसेज रिप्लाई कर देते हैं, and I'm going to come back, you know. That one thought deviates us from our focus area, work that we were actually supposed to do. And as a result, we are underperforming, we are frustrated, we are jealous, frustrated, jealous, we are into lack of esteem, and finally into anger. Unknowingly or knowingly, we are putting ourselves into this trap. And now to reclaim our focus, detoxification is important. So dopamine detox का यही पर्पस है. हम एक अननोन ट्रैप में हैं जिससे बाहर निकलना बहुत ही जरूरी है. So learn how to remove your stimulations, overstimulations rather, and focus during work. Naturally remain motivated instead of external motivation, and eliminate unproductive activities from your lifestyle is the target that author has taken. And he has written this wonderful book. And in fact, this is more of a workbook than just a book, you know, because I'm also going to do that with you. I had requested all of you to have a notebook with you so that we will be writing few things in the middle as author has done. So moving ahead, there's something called as dopamine trap. Let's try and understand. What are the various types of addictions? If I normally ask you, what are you addicted to? You will say, oh, I don't take drugs. I'm not addicted to anything like that. But then if I ask you that if one of these things you are indulged into and you cannot live without one of these things or more than one of these things, I'm sure you'll be able to find out some of those addictions. For example, gambling, video games, shopping, work, eating packaged food, excessive exercising, or similar kind of things which you think you cannot stay without even for a single day, then I'm sure it is termed as addiction. So here, let's take an action step. Let's wait for a moment and write down what is that one thing that you think is your addiction. Please write it down. You don't have to share with anybody here. You don't have to tell me also. It's for you yourself. Let's do it. One thing you cannot live without. Yeah, so I hope you've written it down. Definitely you don't have to share with me, but this is something which is for your own awareness. Let's move ahead. How your focus is being hijacked. Now let's take a situation where you now in this book, author has taken his example. He's a writer. So if he decides on Monday that he's going to write this specific chapter of the book he's in the middle of, and just a notification pops up. This happens with all of us. कहीं ना कहीं होता है ऐसा कि हम किसी काम के लिए बैठे हैं और एक notification pop-up होता है. That red color, marked message says that somebody has uploaded something or somebody has written you a message, and then you try to focus. नहीं, अभी एक article लिखना है, अभी कुछ लिखना है. And then your brain at the back is telling you, बस एक ही तो message है, देख लेते हैं, वापस आ जाएंगे. And then you go to that message, and then it is message after message, maybe a link shared there, and you move to the link, you watch another video related to it, and so on and so forth. That there is this advanced algorithm, we are all aware of it. हम सब भी ये जानते हैं कि किसी भी सोशल मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म पर अगर आपने एक चीज सर्च की है तो उससे रिलेटेड सजेशंस आपको आने लगने शुरू हो जाते हैं, right? We all are aware of it, but somehow we always think that it is in favor, right? if I wanted to know about this specific thing, कितना सारा reinforce हो गया मेरा knowledge, इतने सारे video देख लिए मैंने. Oh, great, that's wonderful. But you were actually doing something very, very important for your long-term goal. लेकिन वो काम तो बाजू में रह गया और आप shift हो गए. That's called focus hijack. ये हम सबके साथ होता है, consciously या unknowingly हम ये सभी फेस करते हैं किसी ना किसी स्टेज पर, किसी ना किसी टाइम ऑफ द डे. And who are getting benefited with this? Obviously the marketers. They know that more the time you spend on social media, more is the money that you are going to give away and they are going to earn. You know? So they are there to bring your wallet to zero, or bring it to the lowest amount as long as you can. Directly, indirectly, more time you spend there, more is the amount that you spend on those items. And it is not just about social media, it's also about food craving. If we talk of maybe 20 years from now, back, we would say kitni kam cheezein packaged form mein aati thi. So we were compelled to make it at home. When we were making at home, we were conscious about what we are putting in it. But now when we buy a packaged food, we hardly check the ingredients. We say, hame pata hai. We have to check it out that all or most of your packaged food contains sugar and fat. And this combination, this lethal combination, is a major source of dopamine trigger. And what it results into? You empty one packet and you crave for a little more of it, right? So dopamine is also called as molecule of more. Why it is called so? Because more our environment triggers dopamine, more is the want for the next shot of it. So यही चीज हो रही है जब हम इंटरनेट यूज कर रहे हैं या रादर मीडिया पर है, और यही चीज हो रही है जब हम पैकेज्ड फूड, शुगर लोडेड फूड ले रहे हैं. And how do we justify it? We say, I deserve it. I deserve this. Great, no problem. But consciously deserve, I think. All right, moving. When we talk of advanced algorithm, believe me, the first video that you saw was when you were using internet. And the fifth video you saw, internet was using you. This is a reality, isn't it? Do we agree? Please raise your hands if you really agree with this. Do you agree? Absolutely. So that is the story. And you will ask as to how is dopamine, released? Why am I not seeing it anywhere? Why can't I, notice it? So, well, let me give you some examples. So when you're on social media, maybe you have put a reel and you get quick likes for it, 10s and 50s and 100 plus likes for it. And this is that excitement that is raised, and you look for, more likes. Frankly speaking, if you go to Insight, you will check that for a 1-minute video, maybe the maximum watch time was some 15 seconds or even less than that. So the people who were hitting those like buttons were just habitual to hitting it without getting benefited from your video or from your content. थोड़ा सा conscious होने की जरूरत होगी. Let's move ahead. Let's understand what is impairing our ability for a long-term perspective. Now let's take 2 examples. Number 1, जैसे हम author की बात कर रहे हैं कि he is sitting for writing, a chapter, and some distraction comes in and he goes deeper into it. Now, for his long-term goal to be achieved, for the book to be completed, this one chapter, writing it within timeline was important. But then giving that time to something that was, stimulating him, that was an external stimulation, and giving up to that external stimulation has actually led to a short-term loss, right? So in short term, he did not realize at that point, he must have thought, it is always possible, we can do it a little later, and so on. We'll also see how our mind tricks us. Similarly, if some of us are into this weight loss or weight gain regime, and that one motichur ka laddu, which is the killer, comes in front of you and you say, bas ye ek hi hai jo main abhi khane wali hu, rest of the time I am on good diet, I am going to just achieve my numbers, right? So it's this short term distraction or loss of focus that is leading to our long term underperformance, and again frustration and so on. And that's a cycle I don't need to tell you. So this is how our long term perspective is impaired when we take short term decisions and we succumb to these distractions. शॉर्ट टर्म रिवॉर्ड्स की भी यहाँ ऑथर बात करते हैं. जैसे हम डिस्कस कर रहे थे कि जब आप एक रील पोस्ट करते हैं एंड यू गेट क्विक रिस्पॉन्सेज फॉर इट, you think that success is this easy, see, I posted it, I made it within half an hour and I got 200 likes. This is how easy success is. And this is a distorted mental model. Success is not easy. Success is not fast. We all understand in our journey of life, we are all facing this thing that success only comes with patience and with consistent efforts. And here author has quoted a wonderful example of Amazon, that Amazon was started by Jeff Bezos in 1994, but the first profitable year was 2003. So for those 9 years, he could have shifted to some other business. But he invested all his energy, time, and money into the same business because he knew that consistency and patience is going to pay back. And that is what is very important. So again, this hit of dopamine, this continuous vicious cycle of dopamine is responsible for this distorted mental model. Short-term attention span, or rather, as we have already discussed, that patience comes with consistent efforts. Now here author says that there is a need to rewire our thinking. We need to go back to our basic lessons and understand as to what is it that is giving me this hit of dopamine. What is it that is putting me into this stimulation trap? He calls it the wheel of hamster. The hamster keeps moving and the wheel keeps rolling, and who is moving whom you don't know, isn't it? So here, let's take a minute out. Let's write down what is it, that one thing that is putting you into this stimulation trap, or rather, what are those steps through which you enter into the stimulation trap? For example, you see one more notification, and then a video suggestion, and then multiple videos on the same topic. Maybe they are all motivational, they are all going to add to your business skills, but is it required at that point? We don't know. So please take a minute out and write down for yourself. All right, so I hope you have written it, or maybe you have at least visualized for yourself, and you're going to write it down in detail. And this list is going to give you that awareness, so that next time when you're entering into the trap, you know that you're doing it. Here, I would like to share with you that in our institute, we have made it mandatory that all the students have their notifications put off, not just in class, but always. So it is mandatory for them to put their notifications off. So sometimes when they are in the class, we, deliberately put a message on the group to see if somebody's notification rings. And at least this distraction, we can keep that away from them throughout the year, throughout the day, throughout the year, and rest is up to them, up to their awareness. All right, so what are those 4 tricks that your mind plays on you? Thoda sa look back and think of your working hour when these kind of tricks are being played by your mind, if at all. So returning to work is easy, your mind tells you. So now when you were writing something, one notification pops up and you first take a pause and say, no, no, writing is very important. I have to give this article. Otherwise, somebody, maybe editor or somebody is going to scold me. No, no, there's no harm. वापस आ जाएंगे. एक notification, एक ही तो message है जिसको reply करना है. That could be important, you know. Important to an extent कि बस life and death है. Yes, so you will attend and your mind tells you returning is going to be easy. But I'm sure you know that it's never, never easy. Number two, you can do it later. So after having spent 15, 20 minutes, half an hour, and having a good hit of dopamine, where your excitement is now telling you that the work that you were doing was really boring, mundane, had no rewards coming in, you will think, अभी तो सुबह के 5 बजे हैं, दोपहर है, शाम है, रात तक खत्म कर लेंगे. Right? So that is the second trick that your mind plays with you. You can do it later, it says. Third, excitement will replace fulfillment. I am so excited to reply to this message, you know. Yeah, the YouTuber I follow so fondly, uska ek video release hua hai. I should be the first one to watch it. That excitement. But think of it, after having spent those 1 or 2 useless hours doing something that was actually not need of the hour, you might get a lot of excitement, but does it replace fulfillment? Or writing that one article that was needed and you were procrastinating for long, after writing it, it gives you fulfillment? Just judge the two things, judge the two feelings, and you will have your answer. If we do not attend that immediate post or video or that message, I'm going to lose out that customer of mine. Again, the mentality of scars. But frankly, there is a lot of abundance everywhere. There are going to be opportunities everywhere. It's that we need to take them with the right perspective. So now here, let's take an action step. Let's take a minute out and write down for ourselves which of these tricks or all of them, if your mind is playing with you, rate them from 1 to 10. 1 being the lowest, least used, and 10, सबसे ज़्यादा मेरा brain अगर मुझे you can do it later कहता है, तो rate it in 8, 9, 10. So just rate your brain in these tricks. So if you're done here, let's move ahead. Now let's try and understand the various methods that author has suggested for dopamine detox. Here, I was also surprised and felt very proud that the first thing that he referred to was Vipassana. The practice that originated at Igatpuri near Nasik, and now it's being practiced worldwide. He referred to that and he shared in detail what kind of meditation technique it is, where for 10 days, people are totally disconnected from any type of distraction. Even they cannot have eye contact or communicate amongst, people there. So he started from there, and then he said that if you cannot go for that extreme, you can at least have a 48-hour, 24-hour or partial detox. Now, what is this detox? What are we going to do here? For 48-hour or 24 hours, you have to eliminate all or most of the external sources of distraction or stimulation. So, for example, drugs, alcohol, internet, intense exercising, movies, engrossing music, phone, social media, sugar, processed food, video games, etc., etc., etc. Anything that is an external source of stimulation, just eliminate that. It's only for 24 hours or 48 hours, whichever you choose to have. So now you will ask, if I'm not doing all of these, what is it that I'm going to do? Right? So you can think of taking a walk, you can think of journaling, you can think of relaxation, meditation. There are many, many types of meditations that he has also suggested in short. Reading, yogasana, which is not really intense exercise. These kind of activities you can indulge into. So those are the types of dopamine detox. Now, what is this partial detox? He says that partial detox is less demanding. Here, you are not eliminating all of those external sources of distraction, but you are selecting some of them. And when you're selecting them, you're doing it for a longer duration. So frankly, this is most effective. Because 48 hours आप कोई चीज intensely कर लेते हैं, and then the craving or maybe the starvation is so much that you end up doing it more. So it's better you get into partially attending it, gradually increasing it, but for a longer duration. So here, just write down the action step. Maybe you can think about it a little later after the session as to which is that type in which you would like to, start your detox from. Moving ahead, there are 3 steps for dopamine detox that author has suggested. Step number 1, make a chart. Make rather a chart having 2 columns. One column will say can engage in. So these are the activities in which you can engage into during your dopamine detox. And another column says can't engage into, right? So think about it and think of those things which are not external sources of stimulation, and write down the can engage into and can't engage into. Let's take a minute out, at least write 2 to 3 things, because the next step is going to be interesting when you write this. And keep some space in front of your point that you've written. If you're done, let's move ahead. Step number 2 is add a friction. This is very interesting. This is my favorite part in the book. So I'll share with you how the example author has given, and then you can write your own way of adding friction. Author says that as I'm a writer, my biggest distraction is my mobile. So access to internet basically. So what he did, he kept the modem of internet 4 floors below his working area. So now if he wants to check one email or go on internet for any specific task, he has to get up from his place, take the elevator, go 4 floors down, open 3 doors and go to the storeroom and put the modem on. Use internet, again, put it off and do the same activity again. So 6 to 7 steps to actually achieve internet. And he says that we are a little lazy, okay? So we do not prefer so many things to be done for achieving something which is just a small trigger. And by the time you end up into 2 or 3rd stage of it, you lose that excitement. And you would say it's better I sit back and work. This is called as adding friction. So, and opposite of this is removing friction. So when would you like to add friction? For things that you don't want to engage into. Like if Instagram is your biggest distraction, you don't want to engage into it during detox, then write down the ways in which you will create friction. Maybe you will uninstall Instagram. So every time you want to check a message, you have to install, log in and do the activities which are not at all interesting. Nobody wants to do that. And this is how you can add friction and remove friction, opposite of it. So he says that if I want to sit and write, I'm going to, I generally have this habit of putting my AC, my silent music on timer, so that the time that is 5 o'clock when I'm going to sit for writing, all of this environment is in place when I want to write. So this is removing friction. So when you want to sit, if you have to do some 4-5 activities before sitting for your work, then possibly one of them might just distract you or might just take away your charm. But if things are smooth, things are friction-free, it's easier. So this is step number 2. So first one was adding, first one was identifying the can engage and can't engage into activities. And second one is adding friction or making things friction free. And the third step is the first thing in the morning. So which is that first thing that you like to do in the morning? Author says that this first thing in the morning decides the tone for your rest of the day. If the first thing in the morning is attending one social media message or watching one reel or maybe something else, then your whole day is going to be that hit of dopamine and asking for more. If the first thing in the morning is meditation or visualizing your goal or writing down your to-do list or focusing on your key tasks, then your day is going to be in that tune. So this you have to decide for yourself what you do as the first thing in the morning. Moving ahead, tips for maximum benefits from dopamine detox. Let's understand. Number one, take note of your emotions. So while you are in the dopamine detox, you have kept your internet aside, or you have given those 10 minutes in the whole day to checking important things and coming back. Find out what is the state of your emotions. Are you craving for more? Are you feeling dull? Or are you feeling really fresh and are able to focus? What is it? What is that state? You must take a good note of that. Number two, reflect on your life. That is, zoom out. He says that zoom out to a larger picture. So the activity that I'm doing right now, you are in a dopamine detox state right now, and this is the action that you're doing. So if right now you are into one activity, one important task, key task, zoom out and check what impact is this going to have on my goal accomplishment. How is this going to help me in my journey? So when you zoom out, your focus towards your key tasks is reinforced. And that becomes stimulation for you rather than external sources. Identify your fears and work on them. This is something which is a hidden thing. We often say, I'm too busy to learn that software. I am, so occupied, I just don't have time for this. Frankly, deep inside, you're afraid of learning that new thing, possibly. Deep inside, possibly, you think you are not really not capable of, but you think that you might just not be able to connect to it. And you're hiding this fear behind being busy or indulging into binge watching, eating, or high level of dopamine to get that excitement so that you don't have to come back to your fears. This is something that you need to stay back and watch. And if you do these consciously, your dopamine detox will be really, really successful. Organize your day. It often happens that why do we get distracted? Because there is nothing in the head right now to be done. If we organize our day properly, if we just don't have a TDL to-do list, but we have a prioritized to-do list, we know that this is most important job, this is little less important, and so on and so forth, and some things that need to be eliminated. So we have discussed on this forum a book called Eat That Frog. So that book is an amazing book, strongly recommended for people who want to learn prioritization, time management, how to avoid procrastination. So any book in this line you can pick and learn the various methods of prioritization, and it can really help you. Reorient your goals. Now, how do we reorient our goals? We should first check what is it, which place is it that I want to reach after 5 years? Where do I see myself 5 years from now? And from that to an annual goal, to a monthly goal, to a weekly goal, and then to a daily task. This is how we can reorient our goals. When you have your goals set rightly, when you have your list of priorities in place, distraction comes hard to you. It is difficult to distract you. So In a dopamine detox phase, you should surely be following these action steps. So work out for yourself how you would like to prioritize. In fact, all of these are action steps. Taking note of your emotions, reflecting on it, on your life, identifying fears, prioritizing, setting up your, reorienting your goals. These sabhi action steps hai. So you must, focus on each of them. Now, there are 5 very, very strong, tips that he has given for you to help, working on your goals strategically. Number 1, decide one time and one place that you decide to work at. For example, if this is the studio where I want to work every day, and the timing is maybe 4:30 in the morning to 6:30, then I should have a clarity on it. This place should suit my work. Every day, I must sit at the same place on the same time so that I don't have to rethink or, rework on whether I will get distracted or does my environment suit me. You should stick to the same place, same time every day. Number 1. Number 2, identify the trigger. This will make us all happy. So some people might say that, एक अगरबत्ती मुझे अपने काम के लिए मोटिवेट कर देती है, या शायद कुछ mild music. For me, it is strong ginger tea. It could be something else for you. So you have to identify that one trigger that works for you, and you should stick to that. Number 3, get started without overthinking. Sometimes we overthink. We think, अच्छा जिस टॉपिक पे आर्टिकल लिखना है उसका इनफ रिसर्च नहीं हुआ है. Enough research हो जाएगा. Why can't you just have an outline written? Why can't you just put on paper whatever you have in mind? So overthinking often makes you weak or doesn't let you work. So keep your overthinking aside and just focus on the task that you have decided for the day. Stay away from distractions. So distractions में सबसे important है, put your notifications off. Right away after the session, the first thing that you should do is put your notifications off. Believe me, for past 1.5 year, my phone has been on silent mode for 90% of the times. Only in case of emergency, if some situation is there when I have to receive a call urgently, only then I put my phone on. On meaning not silent. And the kind of peace I get is amazing. The work that I'm, trying to focus on, there is nothing that distracts me at all. Notification ka to khair sawal hi nahi. Here I want to tell you that there are some applications also that can help you not get that next suggestion on social media. So I'll be putting those names right now. I don't have those names, but there are some such applications. I'll be putting the ones on the group which are applicable in India, and you can definitely take advantage. And the 5th point is stay away from disturbances. Now, how is distraction different from disturbance? Disturbance is the physical disturbance around you. Maybe people around you might come and tell you, this is urgent, important, do it right now. Somebody else's urgent, important might not be your urgent, important. So you need to decide if this is really your urgent, important, and whether you need to shift your present task in hand to something else. Here, author also suggests that 45 minutes of work segment at a time is ideal. If you have really a good 3-4 hours work in hand, do it in segments of 40-45 minutes. Take a break of 5 minutes and come back. This works best from the point of view of energy, enthusiasm, everything. So these are those important tips that author has shared. Now, it's turn for some secret. Yeah, it is indeed a secret. Secret to stay away from distraction. Now, there are 2 types of systems. Number 1 is an open system, and another one is a closed system. Open system is a system that provides you continuous supply of external stimulation. Simple word mein, internet. It is continuously providing you with external stimulation. एक ऐप से दूसरा ऐप, दूसरे ऐप से तीसरे ऐप, आप शिफ्ट होते रहते हैं, एक्सटर्नल स्टिमुलेशन बढ़ते रहता है, एक्साइटमेंट बढ़ते रहता है, और डोपामिन भी बढ़ते रहता है. And another is a closed system. A closed system is the one that doesn't have any access to external stimulation. Example, MS Office, MS Excel, और PowerPoint presentation. यहाँ कहीं बाहर से suggestions नहीं आते, right? Whatever you're working on that. And that is distraction free. So author says that you should shift your primary focus tasks to closed system. And you should have access to open system only when you want to do some research. Of course, you will need internet for some studies, for some research or some specific things, but that is all. Your primary source of work should not be open system. This is indeed a secret to stay away from distractions. Moving ahead, how to prevent dopamine relapse? Well, इतनी सारी बातें की हमने डोपामिन के डिटॉक्स पर, but old habits die hard, isn't it? So जो हैबिट एक हमें सेटअप हो गई है, वो हैबिट बहुत मुश्किल है एलिमिनेट करना. So there is going to be a time when you will have your old habits coming back, and when you will get into that wheel of hamster again, you will never realize it might happen, right? So what are those steps that will help you stay away from it? Number one, notice if you're craving to go back, right? So as an outsider from your own system, just check. दिल कर रहा है क्या एक बार चेक कर लूं मैं वो नोटिफिकेशन, या शायद नोटिफिकेशंस तो बंद है, मे बी बहुत देर से इंस्टा पर नहीं गए, वो टॉनिक नहीं लिया, सो शुड आई चेक वंस. वो क्रेविंग है क्या, वो क्रेविंग क्या है, उसे कॉन्शियसली नोटिस करिए. नंबर वन, restart. If you think you have really indulged into chota chota karte karte a lot of time of distraction, come back, restart. You should not have any guilt. At least taking effort is a big thing. Come back and start one day at a time. They say slice the dice. So if you want to, there's a very weird example that if you want to eat the elephant, eat it part by part. So if you want to get into the detox, again, do it one day at a time. Number three, create an habit and system to help you stay away. What is this habit and system we are talking of? We are talking of the open and the closed system. We are talking of the frictions and the frictionless system, right? We've all discussed it. यही वो सारे systems हैं जो आपको detox में help करेंगे. Prepare your contingency plan. Now this is interesting. Author says that when you're thinking or visualizing that, if I go to YouTube once for one research, I am bound to enter into that trap. उसे visualize करिए और visualize करिए उससे बाहर निकलना भी. So after watching the one video that I want to see, I'm going to come out and I'm going to write on my paper that, see, I only watched one video. This is your contingency plan. This is going to help you come out of it easy. Number 5, indulge in dopamine-free activities. What are the examples of this dopamine-free activities? Meditation majorly. So here he is suggesting some amazing ways to meditate. Number 1, of course, the most tested method, focus on your breathing. Number 2, focus on your 5 senses. So one sense at a time, just maybe hold something and focus on what texture are you experiencing. Then if you shift to your ears, focus on what is it that you're hearing, the distant sound of a bird maybe, or the sound of the leaves, or maybe something that is just very little but you can hear it. So focusing on one sense at a time is going to be that dopamine-free activity that is going to help you tremendously. Then also indulge into opposite neurotransmitters. Example, endorphins, oxytocin, serotonin. These are some hormones or neurotransmitters which are called here and now transmitters. They put you into that self-awareness, present in the moment state, mindful state, and that also helps you. Even while having your food, if you're watching something and you're just eating, you're going to overeat. But if you're not watching anything and you're focusing on the food and the nutrition, it's going to give you one bite at a time. If you're focusing on it, it's going to give you that kind of fulfillment. All of these activities are those dopamine free activities, and they purely help you in remaining in that detox state. So here the action step, enlist how you can get indulged into this here and now transmitters. Here and now se matlab hai bas awareness, mindfulness. Yoga is an amazing way of awareness. You know, when we close our eyes and we are into a one specific type of pose, we are totally aware of every part of our body. We are totally aware of that tickling happening and so on. So how would you like to get indulged into this here and now transmitter is something that you must write. So please write down this action step, take a moment out and write it for yourself.